Welcome back to 90 Feet Away. It's great to see everybody again. Every one of these episodes has been a pretty personal story for me. This one's no different. I got to meet this young man probably about 25 years ago, and never mind the fact that he was an MLB player and an MLB pitcher, and from our area, we could get into all that. He's one of the funniest and one of the nicest human beings you will ever come across in your life. Today, we are joined by John Doherty. John, thanks for being here.
Eric, thanks so much for having me. It's very kind of you. Nice words. Thank you so much.
No, I mean, met you a long time ago. Can't help but loving you, who you are, the energy you bring. I want to talk about your journey through baseball. So you're born and raised in the Bronx. You moved to Westchester, and your family settles in Eastchester, New York. Was baseball always your thing? Was it something you were passionate about from an early age?
Yeah, when I was born, I lived in the Bronx. I was only there until I was 7 years old. So everybody says, "Oh, he's not a Bronx kid. He's only there for But so when we moved to Eastchester, Tuckahoe, actually moved to Tuckahoe when I was 7 years old. So living 3 blocks from Yankee Stadium, I used to go with my uncle down to the local store. I remember sitting on the little round stool, having an egg cream, listening to the roar of the crowd. So how do you not get into baseball? My mom always told the story. She was hit with a baseball in the stomach when she was 9 months pregnant. So it's kind of like
wow.
Like it was meant to happen, so to speak.
Sure.
So I played baseball, Eastchester Little League. They had a tremendous, to this day they still do, have a tremendous system there and organization. And so I got involved early on. My older brother, Tom, 4.5 years older. When you have an older brother, you better compete or you go back to your room. So that's where I got my competitiveness from with my brother, and so this is how you get good.
Did Tom kick your ass? I mean, was he like a good big brother? Was he a tough big brother?
He was definitely a very good brother. He could have beat me to death. So he knew that. So he didn't. There wasn't that kind of relationship. But he definitely is in charge to this day. He's still in charge of
he's still
everything.
The big brother.
I can't spend a nickel around him. I can't do anything. He's just always looking to do good things for everybody.
That's
so
amazing.
That's the relationship I have with him. Yeah.
Who instilled the love of baseball into you? I mean, your parents, you talked a little bit about it, but, everybody has like their why, their reason, their start. For me, as you mentioned, my dad grew up on the Grand Concourse, and my dad actually got to see Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth play.
Yeah.
So there was like no shot of me being a Met fan, right? I heard all the stories about Yankee pride. Where'd it come from for you?
Well, it's funny because my dad hated the Yankees. So every game that my brother and I ever went to was his brother, my Uncle John, who took us to the games. And so, living in Eastchester, my uncle didn't drive either. And he was a corrections officer. So back in those days, the games were like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I remember sitting on Fordham train station like 12 o'clock at night. My uncle had his gun like literally in his hand. And I'm like, "What, Uncle John, everything? Don't worry about it. Just pay attention." So I guess it was my uncle, to be honest with you. And
okay.
And again, just love of doing stuff. We lived on a dead-end street in Tuckahoe. We did everything on that street. We played stickball and wiffle ball and kickball and you name it. We were doing softball for a while until a couple of windows busted. But we had a blast. And basketball actually was my first love. I quit baseball in 9th grade. I don't know, as much as we know each other, I don't know if you even know that.
No.
I quit baseball in 9th grade because a few different reasons. Coach, I missed the tryouts for a couple of days because I was sick at home. And then I loved basketball. I lived in Marbledale Park every day and took my radio down there and played until sun up to sundown, and that's kind of what I loved. And then, Coach Ciresi stepped into my life, and that's what changed everything.
We're going to get to him in a minute
we are.
because he's legendary.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that. You're right. We've known each other a quarter century. I had no idea. How good were you, like in Little League? 12-year-old John Doherty. Like, was he a dominant? No, right?
No.
Talk about that.
I was a good player. I played shortstop. I pitched. I actually caught until I got a couple foul balls off the knees. I'm like, this is not for me. I don't need this nonsense. But I made the All-Star teams and all that kind of stuff. Back in those days, it's so different now. There was no travel. These kids, I say, playing more baseball before they're at 12 years old than I did when I was 20 years old.
Right.
I played the local league,
sure,
especially like when you get 13, 14, the Pony League. I think I played, 15 games maybe?
Sure.
I pitched in probably 6 of those and had a job. And, so nowadays it's crazy.
Different
absolutely
world.
crazy. But I was a pretty good player. And then, like I said, I quit in 9th grade, but I came back in 10th. I batted 3rd or 4th or 5th. I was in there and, playing positions and stuff like that. So I was a pretty good player.
You step away from baseball for whatever reason, and you come back to it 10th grade, 9th grade?
10th grade.
10th grade. And you mentioned a gentleman's name. And Coach Tom Ciresi, to anybody that knows him, never mind he's a Hall of Fame, New York State Hall of Fame baseball coach, right? He's a Hall of Fame human being.
100%.
Anybody that was touched by this guy in any way was just better for it. I don't know that I've ever said to myself that, I want to be like someone, like I want to be me.
Yeah, right, of course.
But I always admired the way people looked at him, the way people spoke about him. I had never seen him really raise his voice. He would always put an arm around somebody and explain to them kind of what they did wrong and try and fix it going forward. How did Coach Ciresi change your life?
So I had two coaches in the summer league, Mr. Carousel and Mr. Teichner. Still remember to this day. So I was on their team, and I'm doing well. And so they must have, the story I heard, that they went to coaches like, how is he not playing high school baseball? Like, what's going on? So Joe Nanarello, who I'm sure you know,
Sure.
Pace University, drafted by the Texas Rangers, super, super nice guy, very, very helpful when we started. Dom Ciresi played for 10 Foundation, creating the monument and the statue and all that kind of stuff in his honor. And one day I'm sitting in history class. We were in the library instead of actual in class because we would have a projection screen going on or whatever. And I get called out of the room. And I'm like, I never did anything wrong in school. I mean that, and I never got caught anyway. But but I would never just cut class to cut class. I'm like, what's going on here? And Coach introduced me and just walked away. And I'm like, what's going on? And Joe just long and short says, if this guy thinks you should be playing baseball, you should be playing baseball. And I was like, okay. And so the joke is always, the coach said to me, he's like, if you don't play baseball this year, I'm not going to let you play basketball. And I'm thinking, like, he's serious. Like, he could actually do that because I don't know any better. I'm a 10th grade-year-old kid. And so sure enough, I started playing baseball, and I just do well. I win my –
Are you still a two-way in 10th grade?
10th grade I am, yeah.
10th grade you're a two-way.
10th grade I am. Then we get to varsity. We're doing a drill one day, one of these, soft toss, and you stop. I go, Coach, if ball's my up, I go, sit down. We don't need you anyway. And I never played ever again.
Wow.
And I have articles at home, and people say he's full of it, but those articles said this kid, Irish kids develop late and all this stuff, and my mental makeup, whatever. He always said this kid could go places if the way I see it, whatever the case is.
I want to bring something out to the audience. John referred to him as Coach, because if you knew him, you didn't have to call him Coach Ciresi. He was known as Coach to everybody. He's Coach
to his kids, to his wife. I talk to Mrs. C all the time. She still says Coach. She never said. It's always
unbelievable.
Coach.
Yeah, just unbelievable. The amount of admiration that the whole world that knew him
absolutely
had for him. Okay, so Coach sits you down, and how do you start really figuring out you're going to be a pretty good pitcher?
Again, I just played because I had fun. I mean, honest to God, I did. I had these kids nowadays, how they know about scholarships, they know about the draft. I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't care about any of that stuff. I was just playing because I was having fun. And then senior year comes around. Now the talks of it, I should be getting a scholarship and this and that. So was it still fun? Yeah, but now it's almost like if I don't get a scholarship, I'm a failure. So it's one of those kinds of things where it's like this isn't so much fun anymore. Get my scholarship literally in May. Concordia College comes down. I only applied to a few schools. I wasn't a great student.
Before you go, so that's my question, right? Not to be funny.
Yeah, no, not at all.
You grew up in Tuckahoe. You end up going to school in Concordia, which 3 miles away from not even from Tuckahoe, right? So it wasn't necessarily I had dreams of like Miami, LSU, Tulane, like.
They didn't even know those schools.
Right, you never heard of those schools.
No.
What attracted you about Concordia, about staying home? Yeah, what was it, man?
Very simple. I'm a mama's boy.
Okay.
Always was.
Okay.
My mom passed in May, but I'm still a mama's boy.
Right.
And White Plains Road in Eastchester. I went to high school on White Plains Road, went to college on White Plains Road, got married on White Plains Road, got into a few fights on White Plains Road. And I live off of White Plains Road right now.
So you're a townie.
It's a small little town.
You're dying there.
It's a small little town. My buddy Charlie Hunter, his cousin Jeff was one of my best friends from high school. Charlie was at the school. They offered me a scholarship, real easy. I said, okay, I'm coming.
So for you, life can't get better, right?
No.
Like they want you.
It was perfect.
And
it was perfect.
And you get to stay home.
Yeah.
Did you dorm or you lived home?
No,
you lived home. Mom took care of you.
I'm not stupid.
Right? Mom took care of you. I love it. I love it.
Zacalillo, Al Zacalillo was a gentleman who offered it to me. I said, I got to think about it, Coach. And as I'm walking away to myself, I'm like, this was in May. School season's almost over in high school.
Right.
And in 2 months, I got to start college. So I had no idea where I was going. And so now, because I was, to be honest, I'm thinking about my parents. I'm like, well, paying, they don't have to pay for anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, full scholarship back then. I don't know what it was. Maybe they had to pay $1,000 or something like that. But still, it was
amazing.
My brother for 10 years was paying off that $100 a month, and I was done with school and had no bills.
You started Concordia. Take me through your journey. Now, you're still homegrown at Concordia, but now you meet new guys from all over the place. Concordia, they recruited from all over the place.
Yep.
You step in there, you're a freshman. What's your first experience like?
It's a good question. I mean, I think because I started out and I did well. I mean, if you win 5 games, that's like you're tying a school record. Because it's Northeast baseball, and you got rotation, all that kind of stuff. And I was pitching well right off the bat.
So you had an opportunity to pitch as a freshman.
Yeah, right off the bat, I was pitching, and I was pitching well. I really was. And then right away, the talks, because the year before, Willie Frazier had gotten drafted, #1 pick out of that little small school. After my freshman year, Scotty Leyes had gotten drafted. So it was kind of getting known, and there was some other guys who played minor league ball, drafted before those guys. And so, the rumors started already. I'm like, I was just like, this is silly. I was 170 pounds. I'm just pitching well.
I'm trying to get, this is like probably 1989, 1990, you're in college.
86, 85, graduated high school, 85.
Okay. So
89 is when I graduated.
86, 87, nobody really on you as far as velo. Like right? Like today's world.
It wasn't even terminology.
Today's world with velo and analytics.
Launch.
I don't want to talk about launch angle.
What's the new pitch?
The sweeper. The sweeper,
yeah.
Right? You didn't have a sweeper?
I had a slurve or a slider. I don't know where the sweeper came from.
Well, if you wait, the slurve will come back.
Yeah,
I promise
I hope.
you. What was special about you, John?
I could throw strikes with my eyes closed. That was what was special about me. I was, in college I was striking guys out. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but it wasn't like I was striking at 18 a game or anything like that. But I was I always said I'm a contact pitcher. I was a sinker ball pitcher, so I could throw strikes with my eyes closed. Great movement on the ball. If it was hit, most of the time it was hitting to the ground. And again, I was getting my share of strikeouts too at that level.
What frustrates me as a coach, what frustrates me as a mentor to a lot of young kids is, you fast forward to 2024. I say this with love, not any kind of disrespect.
Of course.
In 2024, nobody's looking at you.
Maybe not.
Probably
not. I agree, because of the speed.
The speed.
Right.
Everything is about speed today. The Greg Maddoxes of the world probably aren't getting a shot.
Which is sad.
Which is sad, and it's sick when Greg Maddox's two-seam ran this much, right? So you do really well as a freshman. Are you starting to think about the potential of being drafted, or are you still just having fun?
Still having fun. Even sophomore year, you have it even a better year. But now they're starting to talk about it a little bit more. And we did a journal every year to travel, to spend money. We did a journal and stuff. And whoever wrote that journal was always, John's got to this, and this is going to happen in a couple of years. I'm like, oh, my God. So then it almost becomes, again, it's still fun, but it's almost like, now if I don't get drafted, I'm a loser. I'm a failure, that kind of deal. And after the second year of college, Al Zacalillo, Buddy Payne, legendary pitching coach also, they decided they were going to go to Iona College. The way I remember it, Coach Zaki was a little upset they didn't offer him the athletic director position, so he's like, I'm out of here. But he didn't tell anybody he was out of there. So he was trying to recruit a couple of us. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm passing my grades. I'm not a great student. I'm passing my grades. A lot of help from my brother. Passing my grades, plus I'm pitching really well. And, again, I'm living at home, close to home. Everything's great, even though Iona was only another mile away. So I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. They bring in another coach. I'll keep his name, whatever, destroyed the program in 1 year. We were 29-8 after my sophomore year, #1 in Division II baseball and in the state, 27th in the country, that little tiny school.
Wow.
He comes in, we're 18-22. He gets thrown out of 10 games, doesn't show up for 2 of the games. We don't have one scout show up the entire season. So 2 of my best friends, Louis Venturino, John Bloom, 1st and 3rd. To me, once I got drafted, I'm like, these guys definitely should have got drafted. I mean, they were both 6'2", 6'3", big, strong guys, could hit for power, great glove, and not one scout showed up. Lou Santos, as a captain, I go to the office and say, we got to get rid of this guy. He says, well, just because I'm like, one up to get rid of him. Lou Santos comes in, never met the guy, calls me in his office. He says, I promise you there will be scouts this year. You should have got drafted last year. And I said, no, I shouldn't have. I said, I didn't have such a good year. Not realizing you get drafted on potential, not what your record is, which was another grade. I was so naive about the whole process, So, sure enough, every single time I touched that ball, there was a scout at a game. And I got 2 wins in the same day. I pitched a shutout in the first inning. I threw a one-hitter. Guy pitched a no-hitter against me. We won 1-0.
Wow.
I came in relief the second game, threw like 3 innings, got my first base hit, bases loaded in college.
God.
That was the best thing. And so, again, he gave me the ball every single time I could. And that was the other thing that was good about me. I just had a rubber arm. I could, my mechanics are pretty good, and I could throw all day long.
Also, what was pretty cool about Concordia, I have to assume, is that your family, coach, all your friends, everybody supported you. Yeah, every game you went out there in uniform. I mean, that had to be kind of cool, no?
Yeah, I had so much. It was unbelievable. I mean, I was in chess tournaments as a kid at Ann Hutchinson School, and my parents would be sitting, in the cafeteria waiting for me to come down from the classroom and see if I won or lost.
Chess.
They thought they had a genius on their hands. And I won the tournament every year.
You have ADD. How?
I'd move and then I just play it, and then okay, and move and then I'm like, because that's just how I am. You're absolutely right. I had to wait. The pieces had to get taken before I got interested in the game. But I played chess, basketball games. They were at everything all the time. And Coach always said the most unassuming parents, they just came and, whatever the case was. They wanted me to do well. There was no screaming. My mom might hear, take a deep breath, Johnny. That's all I heard.
Right.
I would never hear anything else.
No yelling, no screaming, nothing to do about baseball. They were just there to support their son.
They were just there to support.
Amazing.
I'd come home. My dad, if it was a faraway game, how many points did you score on basketball? I'm like, I don't know, Dad. He goes, what do you mean you don't know? How do you not know how many points you scored? I'm like, Dad, I don't know. I'm just saying how we won. That's all I know, So,
was Daddy an athlete?
My dad was an athlete. He actually was offered a high school scholarship for basketball in the Bronx. I think it was Cardinal Hayes, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So he was a good player from what my uncle said. He was diabetic, my dad. He read his rights like 3 times. Back in those days, they didn't know what diabetes was. That's one of the reasons why he didn't drive.
Got it.
Because he was always scared he was going to go into shock and stuff like that.
Wow.
But, yeah, he was a good athlete.
Senior year. How did your senior year go?
Senior year was phenomenal. My junior year, I said, I got one shot at this. Rob Sanchez is a guy that he was on a team, one of these guys really strong, and I said, I'm going to work out with you this year. And he got me, bigger, strong. I gained like 10 pounds. I broke every school record that year. I was 10-1, strikeout record, ERA, whatever it was. And, again, there was a scout at every single game.
So Lou Santos was a man of his word.
Lou Santos did his job, and I was signed by a Latin coach. Ramon Pena was my scout who signed me. I actually thought Omar Minaya was going to sign me. I definitely thought I was going to Texas for sure, the way he kept talking. And my last amateur game was at Runbrook Park against Charlie Kerfeld or whatever. He beat me 1-0.
Okay.
Texas took him, and Ramon wound up taking me with Detroit.
So you get signed by the Detroit Tigers. Like, is this something you dreamed of, or are you still – it's not like you dreamed of it, but you looked at yourself like you'd be a failure if you did?
Yeah, 100%. Just because of all the hype, there was too much hype. So, I wasn't expecting a call on the first day at all.
But hype, what did John Doherty want for John Doherty? Is this something you wanted? Did you want to try to make a living? No, I'm being.
I know.
People don't understand, and we talk a lot about mental health and anxiety and stuff like that. What were you going through at that point?
I always say baseball chose me. If it didn't, I was just going to go get a job and. Whatever that job would have been, that's what I would have went and done and did the best that I can, just like I did in baseball. Whatever I try to do it to the best of my ability, and that's what I would have done. So when I say hype, I don't want to make like TV cameras in my house with the waiting for the call to come or anything like that. But such good friends I have. This is the White Sox call. Is John? I'm like, these are great friends I have, right? So now I'm walking out of the house with my buddy Piggy. My catcher that I had at Concordia College, Mike Pignataro, and we're walking out the guys. I said, Piggy, I got to get out of here. Because Louis is the guy making the calls, and this guy's making the calls. I go, I'm going to knock these guys out.
Right.
And I'm leaving. The phone rings, and my sister-in-law at the time, Linda, calls and says, Johnny, phone. I'm like, who's calling now, right? So it's Detroit Tigers. I'm like, yeah, okay, who's this? Whatever. And sure enough, it's the Detroit Tigers. So they're talking. We select you in the 19th round, blah, blah, blah. Huge bonus of $1,000.
Amazing.
Hey, you think you get any more money? He's like, you want to get a job or you want to come play baseball?
Right.
I said, I'll see you in 3 days in Niagara Falls. Here I'm going to Niagara Falls. You hear minor league baseball. I think I'm going to Iowa or something.
But so this is wild to me. So now you're 21?
Yeah.
Okay.
A few days shy of 22, I guess, yeah.
Okay. 21, 22.
Right.
But since 7 years old, this is the first time you're leaving White Plains Road.
kind of. Started playing a couple times.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but
But I'm still going to New York. I'm going to Niagara Falls, which Niagara Falls could have been Iowa. I was just talking to my brother the other day, like, you know, when you think about it, like, nobody really ever came to see me pitch in Niagara. Like, it's only 8 hours away.
It's
but my parents, to drive to Niagara Falls, you would think would have been like driving to Iowa.
Right.
So, you know, my uncle came up, my brother came up, and stuff like that. But it was.
How long did you spend in Niagara Falls?
It was short season A-ball. So I got drafted on the 6th, showed up on the 9th, played the whole season. I wound up becoming a closer. Funny story how I became a closer. First day we get there, they say, listen, we know you guys threw a lot of innings. We're not going to burn you out. We don't want to toast you, all that kind of stuff. We're never going to throw you back-to-back days. I pitch on whatever night. Next night I go to the bullpen. I don't bring my spikes. I don't bring my glove. I don't have my sleeves. I don't have my cup. I have nothing. Phone rings. Get Doherty up. I'm like panicking. Guy flips me his glove. Guy's running to get my shoes. I'm throwing. I don't go in the game. We're getting on the bus. He calls me off the bus. I'm like, oh, geez, I'm in trouble. He goes, how'd you feel last night? I go, I didn't pitch. He goes, no fooling, stupid. How'd your arm feel? I go, fine. He goes, you're our closer. I'm like, okay. 14 saves, 0.9 ERA. Have an unbelievable season. I'm exhausted now because, again, Northeast Baseball, we played 30-something games. Now I just played another 70-something. Not that I played in it, but I'm there for 70-something games. And 1 week left of the season, he calls everybody over. We got great news. John was just invited to instructional ball for the end. And I'm like, everybody's, hey, way to go. I'm like, son of a bitch, I got to go 2 more months of baseball. I want to go home. You know, and I'm losing weight because I eat McDonald's. I eat like crap. I want to go home.
Sure.
I was able to go home for like 3 days, I think, before it started. But now I'm in Florida, and I'm just – but, again, I get invited to it, so it's awesome. And then the following year, when I get my contract over the winter, I went up skipping low A, which is in Fayetteville, to go to Lakeland, Florida, which is the high A ball team. But now I'm in Florida. I'm thinking like I'm in the major leagues. You're playing in all the minor league stadiums that the major leaguers use. Sure. And plus it's Florida. I have a pool out the front door. I'm on the first fairway back here. I think this is unbelievable. Meanwhile, I'm making $1,000 a month, and you make it for only 4 months. You don't make it for a whole year. You only make it the years you're playing.
People don't understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. You're an A-ball.
Mm-hmm.
And again, so you just had a great ridiculous season. They changed you to a closer. You're now an A-ball. Tell me about that season.
Same thing. We spring training, I'm doing really well. And
are they still looking at you as a closer, or are you?
I'm still a closer. Yeah. So how did they figure that out too? By the way, so back to Niagara Falls. So like you went to Texas A&M, you went to UCLA, you went to Vanderbilt. You'll be our starters. You went to how do you say that school? Concordia. Okay, I had my Knickerbocker Conference T-shirt on. These guys have had rings. They've been signing autographs for 4 years in college, and like, you'll be in the bullpen, and you went to where? You'll be in the bullpen. So that's how that all started.
Wow.
But when I was in season just started, and again we're at the Major League Stadium, and I'm watching TV one night. I got my leg up, and I get up, and all of a sudden I can't move. Like my hip just locked or whatever the case. I wound up having a hip flexor injury, and so I'm rehabbing for a few weeks. Second I come off, I'm all excited to pitch down. They send me to Fayetteville.
Wow.
And I was devastated.
Wow.
Because they used to call it Fayette-Nam, like you're in the middle. It's whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember getting off the plane, and as I'm walking by a gate, it says LaGuardia Airport. I drop my bags, and I'm like, I wonder if they got any seats on that plane right now. And I'm sweating bullets. It's hot as hell. I got this crazy sweatsuit with orange and lime green and all kinds of things. I
just want to go home.
I'm sweating.
I want to go home.
But again, I'm like, you can't quit.
Yeah,
you can't be a quitter. Like, get your bags and suck it up and whatever the case is. I go to Fayetteville, and I'm pitching lousy. We got a pitching coach there. He's trying to make everybody warm up going for the outside. Meanwhile, I'm living on this side of the plate the whole time. You got to warm up like this. I'm like, I'm 20. Come on, dude. I know what I'm doing. Whatever.
Right.
Has me throwing pitches. This guy's hurt. This guy's going to kill me. The roving pitcher instructor, Ralph Truel, comes down. He says, what's going on? I go, I don't know what I can say or what I can't. I said, but this guy's killing me. I got to get out of here. Sure enough, I'm out of there. I go back up, 15 saves, 5-1 record, 1.1 ERA, lights out in Florida. So now I'm kind of like getting on the radar and stuff, right? So go home, get the next contract for the progression is AA, and now I'm in AA baseball in London, Ontario, which was, furthest city from everywhere. So every week I'm getting on a bus for either 8 hours or 14 hours.
Absolutely.
Sleeping in a rack, Burger King for lunch, Burger King for dinner, because that's what's on the
so
highway.
Really sexy, like the way everybody thinks about
awesome,
it, right?
awesome.
It's just an incredible life to live.
Mix it up, burgers at lunch and then chicken parm. They had the chicken parm special. Sometimes Burger King had that chicken parm. That's like, home run.
Heaven.
Home run.
So you were in Ontario. You're there for a year?
For a full season, yeah. Full season. I was, again, 14 saves.
Really well.
2.2 ERA. I think I was 3-3 if I'm not mistaken. And so now it's that you got to protect you and see what's going on. And I get the call. I'm going to be on a 40-man roster. So now I'm going to go to spring training the following year with Major League Baseball players.
Yeah,
so I'm like, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just
John Doherty.
I'm just John Doherty.
Yeah,
having fun playing, pitching,
yeah.
and doing what I got to do. And I remember my last time throwing at home. Coach always told this story all the time. He would catch me. He's catching me. Lefty, with his tie on, sport coat. Custodian or security guard standing as a hitter. I mean, this happened multiple times. But my very last time, he's catching me, and I'm throwing. He's like, timeout. First time he ever went and got gear. I was like, what's going on? He goes, something's a little different today. I'm putting some gear on. The last pitch I threw him was a changeup, and I broke his glove. He just caught it funny, and it went through his glove.
Wow.
So we're in the office, and he's like toweling off and stuff like that, grabbing a cigarette real quick. I was like, knock him out. So I said, what do you think? He goes, think you're going to he goes, I go, double A again? Triple A? He goes, no. I go, Coach, I'm not going double A again. I said, I'll lose my mind. He goes, you're going to big leagues. I go, Coach, take it easy. I'm not going to big leagues. I skip triple A, and I go to big leagues that year because I go to spring training, and I pitch lights out.
Lights out. So back then, 1992 at this point, 91, 92. Was that a normal thing? That really wasn't a normal thing to skip an entire level.
100%.
Right? I mean, you're really just making your bones there at double A, right? You had the hip flexor, so you went back a step. And now you come back and you're killing it. You're on the 40-man. What's your first spring training like with the Detroit Tigers?
Is
it real? Is it real? Like, do you show up and am I in heaven or am I pinching myself here?
I was always smart enough to keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
I mean, I always knew enough of that as much as I
talk
and I knew enough. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your head down. Coach had told me that years ago before I went to Niagara Falls. He said, they give you $1,000. They don't, they'll get rid of you in 2 seconds.
Sure.
I'd sit in the clubhouse. I'd tie my shoe 25 times before the last guy leaves. Like, when's this guy going to leave? I want to get out of here, right? We'd be the last guy out of here and the first guy there.
Okay.
So it was kind of like the same thing. Just show up early, do what you got to do, stick around. There's only so much you can, and, make sure you just keep your head down. And I really made an impression, I think, on Sparky Anderson the year earlier. I came, during spring training games, they bring over minor leaguers just in case.
Sure.
So Frank Tanana was going to pitch tonight. 5 innings he was going to go. This guy was going to pitch. This guy. Looking at Mark Eddles in front of my roommate from Australia, I was like, we're not in this game. We're there's no way we're getting this game. Frank pitches 5 innings, no less. Next thing, some guy up, he's a scratch. He's got something wrong. This guy's not going to – it goes into extra innings. So I pitched the 10th and the 11th in a 2-2 game.
Wow.
Pitched it against Bo Jackson. Pitched it Bo Jackson.
Other
Bob
than
Boone.
you, he's my favorite athlete of all time.
Of course.
Okay, other than you. But go ahead.
So I got a good one story with him too. But anyway, and so when I came out of the game, there was a whole thing. And USA Today used to have those little burbs. He says, "Where are you from?" I go, "You never heard the school."
White Plains Road.
Well, no, we met the school. I go, "You never heard it." He goes, "Well, you keep pitching like that, everybody's going to know, whatever the case is." So kind of made a little impression. And then again, just on the field, it was always a thing. He talked about like where. Because he just all of a sudden he'd be like up on you, like where'd this come from? So I paid attention to that. I always stayed as far away from him as possible, and he always made it a point. Like a lot of other guys would come up to him and hey, how you doing, Skip, and try to suck up to him. And I was total opposite, just try to stay away from him.
Sparky as good as I've heard.
Awesome. My son. I named my son John Anderson after Sparky Anderson.
Yeah.
Coaches my son's godfather, but Sparky Anderson got the middle name, and he treated me like gold. And I killed him. Because when he retired, I said, you're killing me. You're my godfather. Who's going to look out for me? A year later, my career's over. Not even. So he was great.
So you hid from him at first.
Oh, always, yeah.
Even after you got comfortable, was that your MO? Just
kind of, yeah. He used to call me the Fly. Because I get this party dog. I'd be over here. Like, do you ever sit still? I was like, I can't sit still. Like I just said ADD. I'm just moving around all the time. I just couldn't sit still.
Bo.
Yeah, no. So we talk about Bo Jackson. Me and your favorite athlete. I mean, so I remember in spring training in Lakeland, he walked by us after because the big league guys, they play like 3-4 innings, get a couple of bats or whatever case. So I'm sitting in the bullpen, and he walks by, and it's like I can't demonstrate it because I can't walk right now, but it's like his legs were so big he couldn't walk straight. Like they just came out like this. I'm not even kidding. It was like this guy is like, you're like, what the heck is this? So now I look down. He's leaning against the wall. He's got like a six-pack next to him. Just a T-shirt on now, cut off T-shirt, thing. He bends over, push-ups. Boom. Like when I go like this, that's how fast he was doing push-ups. He must have did like 50 of them.
Right.
Sits down, puts it down. He must have banged out 1,000 sit-up push-ups. Right? The guy was a machine. Like, you wonder why he was so big. It was just so impressive. Like looking like, oh my God, like how does this guy do this? Machine, absolute machine. Best specimen I've ever seen.
My favorite athlete, partially because I'm a Raider fan. But to be that good at both.
Ridiculous.
And now I followed in his footsteps and just got a new hip as well. So, I really wanted to follow in his footsteps. Interesting enough, somebody that I grew up with was cousins to Herschel Walker.
Really? Another specimen.
True story, another specimen, and a guy that never lifted a weight in his life.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Oh, no, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, that's all that man did, and he was a freak of nature.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you immediately break with the team? Do you make the opening day roster?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I skipped AAA, and there was a guy on the bus.
But being on the 40 doesn't mean...
Right, there was a guy on the bus got pulled off as we're leaving.
As you're leaving.
Les Lancaster, they traded for Les Lancaster. It took him off the bus. That could have easily been me.
So this guy from the Bronx and then Tuckahoe, Eastchester and White Plains Road, who basically never had this crazy dream, but didn't want to be a quitter and didn't want to be looked upon as a failure, is now a Major League Baseball player. How did you ever see this journey? Or so you never looked forward in your life 3, 4, 5 years? Like, you lived the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I remember sitting on those bus rides and you're watching the white lines go by, and praying all the time, Jesus, is this what I'm supposed to?
But you go from Burger King burgers and chicken parm at Burger King. Wait. To big league
Burger
spreads.
King, big league Burger King. Burger King is right down the street from where I live. I got a newspaper article sitting in Burger King. They did a story. That was my, nowadays these guys have chefs in the clubhouse eating
Oh, no, I've seen it.
I was a single guy. Olive Garden was like
Ruth
Chris to me. I'm telling you.
You're killing me.
Burger King with Sparky one time. I had sent the clubhouse kid out. They always did that. He got me McDonald's, and he's looking at the bag. He took the bag, threw it in the garbage, shoved the burger in my face. He's like, what, he's like, what are you eating? I'm like, I didn't tell him I got home 4 o'clock in the morning. But I'm hungry, so I got to eat something. But, yeah, so I wasn't the spreads at the clubhouse are better than what I was eating outside.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What's your first start with the Detroit Tigers?
Again, I was a setup guy now.
You're still as a first-year guy, you're a setup guy.
I'm a setup guy. In spring training, like I said, I pitched lights out. I struck out one guy per inning, didn't walk one batter. Gave up literally maybe 2-3 hits in spring training. It was this crazy thing. And every day is a story on me, like phenom, this like oh my God, I was in my room, icing the top and bottom. I didn't leave the room. I don't think I had one beer all spring training. I was it's on a roll. Don't screw this up.
Right.
And so and I just got it because I believe it or not, I still get fan mail, which is crazy. So
awesome.
I wouldn't have known this until I got this the other day. April 8th was my first day. My brother there was a tweet the other day. I guess X, I don't know what they call these things. I don't have that stuff. So he sent out a thing. The guy says, paid an usher for the best seats in the best stadium to sit at the, I'm like, best stadium. I don't know what this guy, he's a huge fan, obviously. But when I zoom in a picture, it's me pitching.
That's amazing.
And I tell my brother, I go, do you really realize that's me pitching? I go, the other reason why you can tell it's bases loaded. So he starts laughing. He actually looked up the stats. He goes, no, that wasn't you. You came in relief. You got out of jam.
Right.
That whatever the case is. I gave a solo shot. I think it was the Kelly Gruber. He used to tease me.
I remember Kelly Gruber.
He used to tease me because it was like a fence scraper or whatever.
That's funny.
But so that was my first, as a reliever. And Dave Winfield was against Toronto. Dave Winfield was my first Major League strikeout.
No kidding.
On a really bad slider.
Wow. So did you prefer coming out of Penn? It's a different mindset, right? And how you prepare.
100%.
Yeah.
It was you started your whole life. I mean, when you played in Northeast Baseball here, like I said, there's no such thing. And nowadays it's changed a little bit, but there was no such thing. If I didn't finish my game at Concordia, first baseman, right fielder were coming in. So it was I'm finishing this game. I got into it like that adrenaline rush of coming in as a reliever. I really started digging that a lot, and I want to say after a couple months, reporters started coming, hey, Sparky's thinking about making you a starter and this. And I'm like, what do you think? I go, I don't think. I said, give me the ball, I'll pitch. I said, whatever he says, he says. And now we're getting closer and closer. My friend Piggy came to see me, walking out of the clubhouse. I introduced him. We're like 15, 20 feet ahead. He goes, hey, Piggy, what do you think I make your buddy a starter? So, best thing you ever do, Skip. I'm like, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
I come in relief. We're playing in Milwaukee, I want to say. It's Milwaukee or Cleveland. I can't remember now. These things you should remember.
You're getting old, though.
Exactly. And I don't know if I took my vitamins now. You mentioned that. So I pitch. I come in relief. I get out of a jam, like bases loaded jam. It was Cleveland. Cleveland. Now, I tell you why in Cleveland. So he follows me up the runway, and he says, great job. He goes, 5 days from there, you're starting. It was, you're starting. And I'm like, okay.
Now, you haven't started in 3 years.
I haven't started since 1989 in college.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so I was like, okay. So my first start is going to be against Mike Mussina in Baltimore. He's starting 3 rookies that day. I can't remember who the guys were, but the second day, I'm going to start the next day. The peanut vendor is leaning in the dugout. Hey, Spark, thanks for starting all these rookies. Thanks. Because we're getting waxed.
Okay.
And I'm sitting next to Sparky, and I'm like, oh, man, this is, I pitch 6 scoreless innings against Mussina.
Wow.
He pulls me out because I'm on a pitch count. I've already pitched, whatever the case is. Yeah. And now that's like, Sparky's a genius. Right decision.
Absolutely.
He knew I should be a starter, the whole thing.
Absolutely.
My next start's against the Yankees at home. My first start was against the Yankees. First win as a starter was against the Yankees. I beat the Yankees. Yeah,
in Detroit.
In Detroit, I won't talk about the start in New York, but that one I'll talk about. So I wound up being, going 5-2 in the 7-4, but 5-2 in my 11 starts that I had. And now the following year, I'm going to be the plan is to have me being a starter in the major leagues.
You're kind of living a fantasy life.
Yeah.
Right? You're every kid's dream. Every kid that laces them up or plays catch, really wants to or thinks they're going to have a shot to be a professional baseball player. You're there. And you weren't, as we talked about, there was no PBR. There was no perfect game. There was no real crazy travel ball. You didn't go to Georgia. You didn't go to Florida. You played Legion ball, basically.
I didn't even play that. I'm serious. After my junior year of college, I played a full NABF or whatever it is.
Okay.
I played with guys 30 years old,
like
40 years. Yeah. Joe Pereiras. Played with guys like that.
And Joe P., for the record, is still playing. I'm 58. He's got to be 59, 60. Yeah. He's still playing.
And killing it.
With his son. Yeah. He'll be playing with his grandkids. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, no, so that's what I'm saying. I didn't really play a lot of baseball at all.
So
I said it all the time. When parents ask, and they don't want me saying it, but I'm always honest with them. I say nobody played as little baseball as I did that got as far. I don't know anybody.
What, for me, again, I say this, kind of not trying to be funny. You weren't a workout guy. You weren't a big workout guy. But to this day, you're 56 now. Mm-hmm. One of the most flexible human beings, right? Your mobility and your flexibility is incredible. Mm-hmm. Were you that way in your 20s?
Yeah. When I again, my Uncle John, we were watching my brother, again, 4.5 years old, me at the Pony League Field in Eastchester, Segazy Field, they call it now. This kid, whoever the heck it was, pretty known guy, in high school, whatever the case is. My uncle says, watch this kid get ready. I'm watching the kid get ready, stretching, routine. The kids today have no idea, no routines, whatever. And for whatever reason, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start doing that stuff. And I started stretching, and it's something you got to work at, just like working out. You got to get better at it. And so through high school, my flexibility just got better and better and better. But also, I felt like if I had to, I gotta get rid of it. I gotta get this stretch out. I just wanted to feel loose and limber. Sure. I always said I pitched my best when I was like my skinniest. When I felt really like loose, that's when I pitched best. Got like nice whip and all that stuff. And so minor league baseball is where it really, really started because, again, I'm stretched with 40 guys, 30 guys that I don't know who they are. So I'm gonna do what I'm told. Coaches are watching. I'm stretching. Pitchers always got to do their running during BP. When BP was over, now I'm soaking wet. I did a modified version of it, kind of went through all the stretches again, not for as long, holding these stretches long. And now as a closer, I may have to get loose again, so I'm paying attention to the game. I'm starting to stretch again. So my flexibility became definitely my biggest asset as an athlete, 100%. I definitely worked out. I did my stuff. Back in the day, the bands thing started coming out. You guys go to your room and do it. I put it on the bed. I sat there, 12 minutes later. There you go. Because to me, it felt like I was getting tight.
Got it.
I mean, guys used to laugh at me. I'm in the gym with 20-pounders. They're like, I'm a pitcher, dude. I'm not looking to, as much as I wanted to. I'd love to have some huge biceps, but I needed to be nice and loose.
My older son who pitched to Bucknell, I remember he called me thinking he had a hernia. I said, hernia? Like, what happened? He goes, well, they had me deadlifting 525. I go, are you a lineman or a pitcher? Like, what's going on here? So, that's really interesting to me. You have a 4-year run with Detroit, and you're doing pretty well. I mean, you continuously an incredibly consistent guy. They know what they're going to get out of John Doherty. Why did your tenure end in Detroit? Why?
Sparky retired.
Right. So Sparky retired.
They were cutting payroll like crazy.
But at that point, did the manager have the input with the GM of who they wanted? Because today,
Sparky Anderson
ran everything.
Did whatever he wanted to. He had handshake agreements. I don't think he ever signed a contract while he was there, to be honest with you. He shook the general manager's hand for his own contract. 93, I'm a starter, and I win 14 games. My first year as a starter, I win 14 games. Rumors, I have on ESPN, David Wells and I, probable All-Stars. We were going to make the All-Star team. We don't make the All-Star team. But still, whatever. I win 14 games. Following year, I start out the season, and I start out 6-2. Something with my back. My back starts bothering me. I don't say nothing. I'm trying to work it out on myself. I'm 6-7 at the end. I'm 6-2. Before the season started, one of the minor league pitcher coaches, if you start out strong, you should have your agent call, and, I was like, whatever. I had a hockey agent. It's another story. Good guy, but whatever. So I'm 6-7. I tell Sparky when we come back from spring training, he sends me home immediately. They say all these tests, whatever. I'm on a DL. The day of the strike comes, I'm supposed to come off the DL, but now we go on strike. So now the following year comes, and my first two starts were horrible. And I really haven't pitched healthy now for a really long time. I haven't pitched really for a long time, but I haven't pitched healthy for a really long time. Throws me back in the bullpen. I wound up leading the league in innings pitched out of bullpen. I threw like 107 innings out of the bullpen, which was insane. Andy Larray, I think who you know Andy too. Andy worked in Major League Baseball. He recently had told me a story that I think I averaged I think it was like 7 outs every time I led the league in that. I averaged 7 outs every time I pitched. It was insane. And Joe Baver, who was on our team, he was second. So in other words, our starters were whatever. Yeah. So, but during that 95 season, Cecil, they tried to get Cecil to go, but Mike Henneman left, Mickey Tettleton left, like a whole bunch of people. They were just kind of dumping payroll and stuff like that. I wasn't making whatever, but they were dumping payroll. So now Buddy Bell comes in for the 96 spring training. And, again, it's a really young team. There's a shell of anybody that was ever there. And I was feeling good, though. Like Cecil, I was like a veteran. I'm going through my 5th year there. And I pitched great. I pitched really well, and we were on a trip in Florida somewhere, in Melbourne, I think we're playing against the Marlins or whatever, and everybody's pitching. I'm like, why am I not pitching? After the game, he calls me in. I was on waivers the whole time, and the Red Sox took me off of waivers. Okay. The pitching coach, Ralph Truel, who I told you was a roving guy, he finally gets to the major leagues as a pitching coach after 20-plus years in the minor leagues with the Tigers. He loses his job, too, because once Sparky leaves, they clear house, and Buddy brings in all his own guys and whatnot.
Got it.
So the way he told me, he says, "Hey, they called me up and said, we hear your boy Doherty's going on waivers. What do you think?" Which I don't think you're supposed to hear that anybody's going on waivers. But he says, "Grab him," because again, the rubber arm kind of thing. Plus, he was looking out for me. He liked me, whatever. Because after the fact, I heard that the Twins were interested because I always pitch very well against the Twins. I heard the Orioles were interested. Brian Cashmere told me they wanted to get him, which I would have liked to play for the Yankees. Would have been phenomenal. Yeah. But I wound up with the Red Sox. I'm there for 18 days. One of their worst starts in history, and they still talk about, because a couple of years ago they had one of their worst starts again. They said they haven't been this bad since 1996. And Kevin Kennedy called me and said, "Listen, you didn't do anything right. You didn't do anything wrong. Because I just got to start making some moves here." And he didn't want to mess with a homegrown kid or whatever the case is. And some other guys were making bigger salaries. I had I was on a 1-year deal. He sends me down. A month later, I blow up my leg, and my career's over.
You blow out your leg. It's 1996. You can't be more than 26 years old.
No, 29, I guess.
Okay. 29-year-old kid. Now what? All I've known my whole life is sports, and I haven't had to think of a job, and now you're a civilian. I'm going to call you a civilian, right? Are you waiting to see if other calls are going to come, John?
So I had surgery. I had severed my patella tendon, so it was an emergency surgery I had.
Right.
So I was rehabbing and trying to do what I can. I wound up getting a new agent and all that kind of stuff. He got me a deal to go out with the San Diego. So I went to spring training with San Diego, but my leg was just shot. Okay. I mean, it actually went backwards, believe it or not. From the MRIs and all that stuff they did, it actually went backwards. So now I'm home. So now I'm like, okay, now I got to figure it out what's going to happen. And Empire State Games we talk about. Sure. I played in the Empire State Games in 1988. My brother at the time was in the governor's office, and he told me, he said, listen, they're looking to hire a couple. People with a little sports background for the Empire State Games. And I was like, I love the Empire State. It was a great experience. Sure. The other guy was an ex-Olympian race walker. And myself, he says, what do you think? I said, I got to do something. I got to start somewhere or whatever. And again, it's all going to be sports related, and it turned out to be a blessing. I loved it.
John, one thing I got to ask you about, the bench clearing brawl with Sandy Alomar.
Oh, okay. So yeah, early on, only a couple months in the major leagues, I'm in the bullpen, in the dungeon, I used to call it Tiger Stadium, because he was like below the ground, literally. And we're playing the Cleveland Indians. We're up, I think, like maybe 7-1, 8-1, or whatever case is. And I'm coming in relief, and I'm in the dugout. So I haven't pitched yet, but I'm in the dugout. And Mickey Tettleton's a switch hitter. When Mickey, and I don't know these things yet because I'm only on a team for a little time, but Mickey Tettleton, when he batted right-handed, had a tendency to kind of dive into the ball a little bit. And so Dennis Cook was the pitcher, and 2 pitches in a row, he went down. He went down one time, and another time he just got out of the way. I forget which order, but he went down. So Tony Phillips, God rest his soul, Tony was a chirper, right? Tony's dropping F-bombs and all kinds of stuff. We could do that too, mother effer, and blah, 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 and all this stuff screaming. And I remember I had to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, if I walk by one of these veterans, someone's going to pull me inside and say, hey, you better this, blah, blah, blah. And I said, let me just sit here and let them know that I'm paying attention. So my plan was first hitter, buzz him, and be done with it. First hitter is Glenn Allen Hill. He could beat up everybody that's in this facility right now.
Big human being.
Right now, all together at the same time. I hit him on the first pitch. Didn't want to, but I hit him on the first pitch. He takes a couple steps, takes the mouthpiece out, starts, whatever the case is. Mickey gets in front of him. Okay. So now Sandy Alomar comes up. And again, I didn't face these guys. And he's standing. He's got this big, and it looks like he's hitting the ball like 800 feet. So I'm like, I'm going to try and throw this ball 150 miles an hour. And I just come out of my motion, and ball comes out of here. And what I did to him is what I tried to do now. I mean, literally, I think I took hair off his nose. Went to the backstop. Mickey Tettleton did one of these, went, and then noticed, and at that point, it was too late. And however long it took for him to get to me, I went back to Niagara Falls. The rules, if you ever leave the mound, you're automatically ejected from the game. So I'm like, I can't leave the mound. Right. So I'm like literally just dancing. And I'm like, do I throw my glove out? Like, what do I do? And so I kind of flip my glove. But he karate kicks me. So the next day in the newspaper, there's stick figures of what I should have done. They got like a judo master that I should have slide-stepped him, chopped his leg, this whole thing. And it turns out he was like a black belt in Dominican.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, I'm 6'4", 200 maybe at the time. Right. He's like 6'5", like 235. I had a spike mark,
oh my God,
up here and down here. I wound up missing like a couple of weeks of baseball because of it. I landed on my bony butt, and now I'm facing, and I see 40 gray uniforms running at me, and I'm like, oh my God. First guy that gets me is Glenn Allen Hill. I don't know that, though. He's like, I got you. I'm just trying to cover my face. I don't want to get spiked in my gorgeous face.
Right.
So I'm like, I got you. I'm like, is that right? Like, who got me that got here so fast?
Right.
And meanwhile, it's Glenn Allen Hill. He could have beat the daylights out of me. But Rob Deere, man-child, he comes out. He's pulling guys out with one arm, just pulling them by the belt, throwing them all over the place. Tony Phillips winds up getting into a fight with Viagra. Then Danny Gladden jumps in. He starts fighting with Viagra. Sparky and Plunk, they start going at it.
Wow.
So meanwhile, I'm walking up the field. My ass is killing me. My chest is killing me. And I see Sparky. He's got his face covered, like giggling under his face with the umpire, like what just happened. So I go up to the clubhouse. Sparky calls me in the office. I'm like, oh, Jesus, like, what now? He's like, that was the best thing I saw. That was awesome. He smacks me on the ass, and he goes, listen, the porters are going to come. It's slipped. I go, he goes, it slipped. He smacks me on the ass. He goes running back down. So it was great, but that whole thing, like all the guys, and then they all chipped in for my fine. It was like, I had to check at home. So I had to write a check to the president.
Right.
I didn't have a checkbook. I'm 21 years old. It's from my mom and dad's checkbook. My brother filled it out, and they came across it years ago. So the picture of me getting dropkick won some kind of reward. So it hangs in my basement with the check inside the thing. I got suspended 4 games and a $500 fine.
That's awesome. But your teammates knew you had their back.
But the problem with that is like, so, hey, this guy was an ass last night. He blew me off at the bar, buzzing for me. Like, come on, dude. Like, I'm not like, whatever.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of those situations. I got some other stories thrown at guys that are, part
of the game.
It is part of the game, and again, you stay away from the head. You do your thing.
What I love is you're every man's guy. You're everybody. Everybody can see some of themselves in you. Homegrown kid. No, truly, John, truly. And you're not an asshole. No, like you've never been that guy. You've never big leagued anybody. You work with Major League Baseball's Alumni Association to make sure that your brothers are being taken care of. You're involved in all kinds of charitable organizations. You're always helping the local kids from the town, you grew up with and others. And, what's always kind of funny to me is the kids you work with have no idea who you were. Their parents do.
Right.
But you treat every kid that you work with the same way, whether it's a 10-year-old or a college kid,
right,
or somebody that you think has incredible potential to do something special. Because I've watched you do what you do for so many years. What's next for John Doherty? Like, after this is said and done and real life is over, real life meaning you have a job, you're going to retire at some point, you'll get a pension. Yeah, that's great. You can't sit still for a minute. You're the fly, right? Right? Sparky called you the fly, right? What happens next for John?
And everybody says that, too, all the time. Like, you're not going to retire. So I appreciate the kind words. Again, it's just my upbringing. Again, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's as simple as that. I say that all the time. As far as treating a 10-year-old, I'm just trying to instill some confidence, trying to make you a little better, trying to keep you from getting hurt. Baseball season's high school. You play, 15, 20 games, whatever, trying to keep you on the field and all that kind of stuff. I do plan on retiring, and I have 4 years and change to retire from my current job with State Parks. It's been a blessing to work for that many years, especially with the Empire State Games. I absolutely love doing that. I worked with physically challenged kids, running programs for them, running programs for seniors. Still run a lot of program at Roberto Clemente State Park. So I love what I do. I really do. But I'm not going to do a half hour more than I need to doing that. I will do lessons as long as people ask me. I want to travel with my wife and with my kids. I want to be with my friends, have some breakfast once in a while, some lunch once in a while. I know that sounds kind of corny, whatever cases, but that's kind of what I want to do. I just let life, wherever it goes. I just pray for health. That's all I worry about is my health. I can't really worry about anything else. And maybe I'll look at, maybe I'll do a podcast one day.
Yeah, maybe you could get on a podcast. You definitely have the face for radio. So
here we go. Now it begins.
For me, I get the best part of you. I get your son. I have John Doherty Jr. coaching in my travel program, and I don't really know your daughter, but your wife, the two of you have really done something real well to raise the young man that you have raised. And John, whatever it comes next, and whatever journey happens for you next, man, I can't wait to just see what you do. I love you. I've always loved you, and thanks for being here today,
man. Don't be silly, bro. I love you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
A lot of fun.
This was awesome for me, guys. Again, I love this man, but I love his story. Here's why. 1986, 2024. I'm telling you, this man's not getting signed in 2024 because all he did was fill up a strike zone. He threw strikes, and he knew how to compete. People today, they know how to compete against Rapsodo and Hit Tracks and Trackman. I need a guy that I know is going to get out on the field, step on the rubber, take the baseball, and throw strikes. Different world today. Some things in this world are better. Some things for me are not better. Maybe I'm too old and I need to change as well, but I'll take this man and I'll take his competitive edge any day of the week. Thank you for being with us again. Hey, if you like this, go out and subscribe to 90 Feet Away podcast, and I look forward to seeing you again. Have a great day.